podcast. I'm your host, Tyler Carter.
And I'm your host, Cody Vancillo.
Cody, hopefully you enjoyed your long Memorial Day weekend. But
hmm
man, in that time, we've had some stuff go on. We've seen the Pacers go up 3-1. Tyrese having an amazing game with a triple double. I believe it was 32, 15, and 12. Let's talk about that first.
Yeah, it was game four of the Eastern Conference Finals. The Knicks came back down 20 points in game three to win that game. Was it 106 to 100, somewhere in that ballpark? So
Yep.
the Knicks finally were able to get like themselves in the series, and it came down to making adjustments and really utilizing the bench, and the bench did step up for New York. So that bench for New York was able to really support the starters for the New York Knicks. Now in Game Four, it was a whole different story. Like the Game Three was a lot more like saw a lot more defense and like it was just a little lower scoring than what we saw in like the past couple of games. But Game Four was off to a flying start. The score at the end of the first quarter was 43 to 35 in favor of the Pacers. In the first quarter, 43 points for the Pacers was more points than the Pacers scored combined in the second half. And this was just basically just this game four just looked like a game of which team is going to have the ball last and who can like knock down their shots uh, more efficiently. Because I think at the end of the first quarter, both the Knicks and the Pacers were above 60% from the field, shooting wise.
Yeah, man. It was a great shooting performance by them. Um, but let's see. I believe that and Game Five is tonight, correct?
Yes. Yep. It will be tonight. It will be in Madison Square Garden. And back to game four, we got to mention this. Tyrese Halliburton, triple double. First 30, 15, and 10 triple double with zero turnovers. As Tyrese Halliburton put up 32 points, 15 assists, 12 rebounds, and added four steals in addition to having zero turnovers.
That is absolutely spectacular. Like
hmm
usually with those type of numbers, you'll see like three or four turnovers, but to have none, absolutely spectacular. I
Yeah.
mean,
And
just
And in the way like Tyrese is passing the ball too, like some of those passes look very flashy, but he always seems to find the right guy, making the right cut or has the right shot when it comes to passing the basketball from Halliburton. So Tyrese is always finding the right person to get the ball to, and he's this aggressiveness, this type of play is what really has helped Indiana now being one win away from reaching the NBA Finals. I mean, it's just going to be a huge night for them. And obviously, with Indiana, you talk about the depth. Not it wasn't even just Halliburton that was contributing. You talk about Pascal Siakam putting up 30 points, Benedict Mathurin off the bench with 20, Aaron Neesmith with 16, and Miles Turner with 13. So it's another game where Indiana, you just have just about anybody and everybody contributing. And it's like you never know who's going to go off. Like, obviously, Halliburton with the triple double. You also had Pascal Siakam in game, what was it, putting up 39 in game two. And then Neesmith in game one of this Eastern Conference Finals. And now you're seeing that Halliburton is like kind of the main focal point. So that's the difficulty. And I mean, it's also because like Indiana's been able to really play the pace they want. They want to really go up and down the court with both team, like both ways, whether it's offense or defense, and they're going to play you tough and physical for 48 minutes. And I think it's now seeing that we're now seeing that kind of wear in the New York Knicks a little bit, as both OG Ananobi and Carl Anthony Towns were kind of banged up during Game Four. You saw like Carl Anthony Towns; he was grabbing his knee towards the end of Game Four. So we'll have to see how much of that plays into the game, and we'll have to see like if New York's gonna have to maybe rely a little more on guys like Josh Hart or McBride. Yeah.
yeah. I got most of it'll probably be picked up on the audio version of the pod. So I totally missed everything that you said. I'm sorry about that.
Yeah. All good, but yeah, just TLDR for you, Tyler. Yeah, the I think Indiana's depth is continue to play a pivotal role, and we're going to have to see how the Carl Anthony Towns' left knee is going to hold up because he was grabbing the knee towards the end of Game 4, so I will have to see how that plays. And obviously, Jalen Brunson is just going to match you, but I think Game 5. I mean, the Pacers they love playing on the road. They love playing on the road. I mean, obviously, we talk about the Cleveland series and the two games they took in Madison Square Garden, games 1 and 2. So Indiana really thrives on playing on that in that road environment.
Yeah, it's that, and then for me, like we've seen how Tom Thibodeau teams are tired near the end, and how he plays them so hard, plays them 40 plus minutes. Like
Hmm.
that type of basketball is not gonna last in the NBA, and
Yeah,
that's why I think that the Pacers are gonna advance tonight.
yeah, and I mean, I think we heard it too. Like that's probably the only way New York can even keep up with Indiana because the way Indiana plays basketball, they're gonna be tough and physical for 48 minutes, and
Right.
it looks like it is starting to wear on the Knicks.
Yeah. So we shall see what happens tonight. Make sure to tune in. I Bleav it's on. Was it TNT?
Yeah, this game will be on TNT.
Yeah, make sure to tune in to TNT tonight to make sure to watch a game five for a possible clinching scenario.
God,
With
imagine that being like the last like NBA on TNT. Like you talk about like growing I grew up watching NBA on TNT inside the NBA crew. That this may be the last time we get to see Ernie and the crew.
I know, man, it's been a staple of our lives for like the longest time.
Hmm.
So I mean that was a good talk on Tyrese and the Pacers. Let's really get into this college football situation. We're gonna talk about and refer to two articles. First, we're going to look at the USA Today article about Greg Sankey talking about the ACC and Big 12. So I'm going to share my screen with that.
Hmm.
We're going to really dive into this and probably and just definitely give our thoughts on this because I have some thoughts I want to share.
Hmm. Yeah, I just think within the last few days, I mean, talk about like this whole week as a whole, Greg Sankey has been pretty much at the forefront when it comes to like these meetings or whatever between the conferences, obviously with the revolving door that is college football.
Yeah, man. And then, like, you look at this first quote. He says, he says, I don't need a lecture for the good of the game. So already coming off across as just very, very arrogant and all that. Like it's ridiculous because basically what he's trying to do, he's like, there's no like when there was a thought of a super league coming into soccer. You know, the bigger clubs like Manchester United and everybody else saying that they want to keep
Right.
these traditional rivalries. Fortunately, you know, here in the United States, people are not as together. A lot of people are a lot. This culture is more a lot more focused on self. So it's about getting mine. It's not
Hmm.
about the best. It's just what's good for me. And obviously, he's doing his job as a commissioner. So I don't blame him for this. But like, it's just like, it's so ridiculous, man. Like,
Hmm.
it's irritating, and like, it's really sort of pushing to, and it's also just really shows how spineless that Tony Petiti is too. Just letting Sankey be the mouthpiece for this at a long, and him not just saying anything as the Big Ten just going along with this.
Yeah. So I just had this thought. I was listening to Williams and Bloom yesterday, and they made a pretty good analogy about the way like the SEC wants to schedule games or whatever, where it's only in college football do you see teams getting rewarded for playing like less like, or it was something along the lines of, um, teams getting automatic bids just because they're purely in the SEC and the Big Ten. Like imagine like the NFC East just because of the NFC East, like you get automatic bids for division winner and somebody else. Like say like the Cowboys and the Commanders and the Giants. Like imagine that. where they have to play where they get to play less like division games or play conference games or something like that, and they get automatic bids. Like so, say like the NFC East gets like 3 automatic bids, and like the AFC South and the NFC um the NFC South, like NFC and AFC South only get 1 automatic bid. Meanwhile, you get like these other divisions that have get automatic bids, like two for two for the AFC West, just automatically regardless or whatever. So it's like only in college football. You don't even see anything like this in the NBA or I think I really like the way MLB does. Like I think MLB probably has one of the better postseason formats, just in my
Mm-hmm.
opinion. But it's crazy how only in college football you can see teams vouching for their conferences get automatic bids. And back to the automatic bids things, if your conference is so good, why do you feel the need to get more automatic bids? Like,
Right. It's just
if you prop up your conference like the high and mighty, um, y'all do not need automatic bids. I it's just what is going like why? Just why?
And then listen to this ridiculous. You can this other one. You can issue your press statements, but I'm actually looking for ideas to move us forward. Moving forward, as in trying to make a mini NFL between you and the Big Ten, and then what you're going to try to do is then try to kick all the smaller teams out, and then be like have it just to be just a super league of all the big brands that everyone is just going to be turned off by because this is not what college football is. Like
Yeah.
so, I think, and in the next article we're going to talk about that. But I just there's a few things that I just think, and then he said the SEC didn't need the playoff. That was good. That was for the good of the game.
Yeah, and this kind of reminds me, like, speaking of like back to like the automatic bits, I saw the Brett McMurphy tweet, mentioning what was it, Kalen DeBoer. Kalen DeBoer is pulling the hypothetical card again, because I saw like it's this is from Brett. I'm trying to see exactly where it was, but he said something along the lines of like their schedule or whatever, where it's like, oh, what yada yada yada, like play at our like schedule or whatever. All right, it says here, this is from Brett McMurphy. So it said Alabama's Kalen DeBoer being left out of last year's college football playoff. You wonder what would have happened if other people would have played our schedule. Um, yeah, Alabama, you lost to Vanderbilt, who you usually don't lose to, which was like 7-6, and then you got trounced in Memorial Stadium by a 500 Oklahoma squad, and then you lost also to Tennessee. So that's 3 conference losses. Like,
And
are we
this just this quote, we got to talk about this quote too. This quote just hurts my heart as a Florida fan,
mm-hmm.
but the Florida AD came out and said that the he believes that uh, the committees are not an ideal way to choose a postseason. So then, how do you do it? Then, do you want us to go back to the BCS? Not to mention that Strickland is an ex college football playoff committee member. So now you're saying that it's not an ideal to choose a postseason? Like, like what is it? Like are y'all just trying to like be in tune with everything because you're just trying to go in tune with like what Sankey's saying? I just it really just pisses me off. And yeah, an Encyclo Meatball, welcome. So we're gonna show his thing on stage. He says the board threw a bone to the Bama Birds and got them clapping like seals. Yeah,
Yeah. See, this is why, like, you don't Alabama, you don't find yourself in that position if you don't lose games to Vanderbilt as the number 1 ranked team coming off a win against Georgia, and then you lose like that against Oklahoma. Like
you
what? Do you
lose
mean you
by
didn't even get in the
three
end zone?
scores to a 6-7 team.
You lost to Oklahoma, who couldn't even figure out like who their quarterback was. Like, and you didn't even get in the end zone. You only scored 3 points in that game.
And then
That's
yeah,
that makes
yeah,
no sense.
it
We'll
basically
give you
says
we'll give you grief for the Tennessee loss because Tennessee did go to the playoff. even though they got trounced, they got their doors kicked in by Ohio State. But that Ohio State squad was just on a different level. After they lost to Michigan, they took that loss personal and just put all their anger out on everybody that was standing in their way. So,
Yeah,
Alabama will give you the grace for Tennessee. We'll give you that one, but
yeah,
the other two is
definitely.
inexcusable to Alabama standards.
And then the second part of this, I question whether it's appropriate for college football.
Yeah,
So if you don't think that it's appropriate for college football, then why the hell did you make a playoff in the first place? Like, how else do you think we're gonna choose a one true champion? Like, this is all freaking money grab, and now they're acting like little kids because they don't want to get their way because they want to stick to this 4-4-2-2-1-1 model that a lot that like Big 12 and ACC and Notre Dame are fighting against, which
hmm
I commend them for.
right.
But I wanted to talk about this one article from Yahoo from Ross Dellinger. Ross Dellinger has done some great coverage on this topic, so I wanted to dive into that real quick.
hmm
We're gonna talk about this because I've been seeing a lot about this 5+11 model um,
Right.
that I Bleav Brett Yormark proposed. So we're gonna go into that. All right. So it says Big Ten Athletic. This was put out 5 p.m. yesterday. Big Ten Athletic directors on Wednesday discussed the potential college football playoff model that would include 5 automatic bids for conference champions and 11 at-large bids. But many in the group said they would not support such a model if the SEC remains at 8 conference games. So basically, with the SEC is refusing to move to a 9 game conference schedule because they're saying that their schedule is already hard enough. Why do we need to add another game?
Hmm.
I mean, and real quick, let's watch a little bit of this video from Ross Dellinger.
And beyond, where the conversation is around 16 teams. And that does feel like something that's going to happen, or at least we kind of know that maybe for sure, is that the college football is going to have a 16-team playoff. The question is, how do you decide? How do you determine those 16 teams? So the Big Ten uh, has kind of swung its support behind a model that grants 4 automatic qualifiers to the Big Ten and the SEC each, 2 automatic qualifiers to the ACC and Big 12, one for the Group of 6 champion, and then 3 at large. So that would be a multiple kind of AQ type of 16-team format. The SEC, and I'm here at SEC spring meetings now in Destin, they'll talk about that this week, but they as well have been in support from predominantly in the athletic director and president room. They have been support of that model too. But Greg Sankey did say yesterday, the SEC commissioner, that they're not necessarily officially or formally have adopted any kind of support for a model, but that's the one they've been certainly discussing most. Now, the flip side of this, obviously, the Big 12 and ACC, they want more than 2 teams, right? So they're not for this 4-4-2-2-1 type of model, and that's where things could get pretty interesting, Dan. There's a little bit of you might say, a fight brewing among the power conferences.
Yeah, it's interesting though, the 4-4 with Big Ten and SEC. Now, are they capping that the Big Ten and SEC can only have that's a maximum of 4 teams in the playoffs?
No, they are not capping. So the 3 at large that are still available would, in theory, still be available for the 5th place, 6th place SEC or Big Ten team.
Wouldn't the SEC have had 6 teams to qualify last year? Does that sound about right?
I think that's right. There were 16. Yeah, there were 6 in the top 16 or whatever. Where that would possibly have happened. And actually, it's one thing Greg Sankey did say yesterday, because the 2 formats they're talking about most here, I think, are this 4-4-2-2-1, and then a 5+11 format, which is 5 automatic qualifiers and 11 at large. And in that model, the SEC would have gotten as many as 6 teams into the playoff if you did that model and went back for the last several years.
It might be crazy to say this, but I will. Who benefits the most out of all of those?
Well, the SEC and Big Ten, right? In this 4-4 model, certainly the SEC and Big Ten would benefit. Now, if you look at outside of college athletics, with the kind of the brewing fight going on, in just the fight for control and more money, Dan, which everybody right now needs more money, right? Because they have to pay athletes directly starting in about 5 weeks or so. So everybody's after money. So when you look at what's going on in college athletics, just the landscape in general right now, those that benefit outside of the agents and the athletes, right, that are getting paid, and then the agents getting a percentage, are the outside entities that we see maybe trying to get into college athletics with money, which are private equity firms, private capital firms. And that's really been interesting to follow. Dan, 2 weeks ago, the Big 12 and ACC, some of their presidents met with the Smash Capital folks that have this Super League proposal, and they want to infuse $9 billion into college athletics. And it's people like that that could benefit and come in and kind of fill a hole, a financial hole where so many schools have one.
We're talking to Ross Dellinger. He's at the SEC meetings. He's Yahoo Sports senior college football reporter. I've been saying for years it would be nice to have a schedule maker. So, yeah, for college football, and maybe we get to this 50 schools, and then you.
Yeah. So I mean, that was a 5 minute snippet of a 10 minute video from the Dan Patrick show. So Ross Dellinger was reporting live from the SEC meetings, and so you heard from that 5 minutes. What were your thoughts of that?
The one thing I took away is like we're back to the money thing, and Chris Williams put it best. We don't have a revenue problem; we have a spending problem. So
Right.
it's not a. You have all these like schools talking about like, oh, we need to we need to raise more money. I'm like, well, then what are you spending so much of your money on? Like, because I feel like there are a lot of places where you're spending way too much money, and like, it's just the spending problem. We're putting too much money into the wrong things. That's why you keep saying we need to raise more money. And like for it's different, but like basically for these SEC Big Ten schools, what are you spending it on? Like, what are you out here like spending it on? And you're playing, oh, we need more money. We need to keep making money. I'm like, okay, y'all need to check to see what exactly you're spending it on, because there is no reason you, as a supposed Big Ten or SEC school that should already be making so much money, you're begging people to give you more money. I'm like, how? Like your position, you should not be out here begging people to give you money, but yet you are. So it makes me wonder what exactly you're spending it on.
Yeah, it's just absolutely ridiculous, dude. Like,
Mm-hmm.
I hate this is where college football is going. I really I like even with like these proposals. I really hope that 5+11 model passes. And unfortunately, I know that I feel like that the ACC and Big 12 sort of gave up some leverage in the SEC, like because they wanted to have like an and that in good faith that they'll do the same thing now. The SEC and Big Ten are in it for themselves. You cannot trust these. You can't trust them. Like you can't. I mean, unfortunately, like seeing the good in people in this situation, it's not because it's for survival. Like now and then, like that, like what that Big 12 AT says, we're going to war now. So I really hope that this 5+11 model passes. And then there's another point that we're gonna show the Cyclone Meatball. Thank you for contributing, Cyclone Meatball. So he says, ever since the court ruling that allowed the conferences to make TV deals, the conferences have been less focused on sports and more focused on maximum revenue as their only cause. Yes, I mean, it's especially now that the TV networks run college football now and not actual college football people, which is why we have these mega conferences and why college football is not regional anymore.
Yeah, and now, I think I heard like also like they want to like these big leagues want to start kicking out like teams. So it's like, why did you even expand in the first place if you're just gonna kick them out anyways? But yeah, I mean, this goes back to the '90s or whatever, where they really could have gotten like the the people in power of college football could have really had this under power like before my time, and but yet they chose to kick the can down the road, and now they're trying to clean up the mess that they could have cleaned up a long time ago, which was one little sprinkle of dust is now turned into a landfill that's on fire, and it's because the people in power did not decide on making a decision in the 90s, so now the people now have to clean that mess up.
Well, yeah, and now you see, we talked about that Tennessee court case in last week's show. So I think you're going to see more states start going on board with court rulings with that, like that NIL ruling in Tennessee.
Yeah,
I think you're going to see more states go on board with that, and I
yeah.
think like if you don't, then unfortunately you're going to be left behind. And
Hmm.
like in our first show that we've ever did, it's either you evolve or die. So we have to evolve.
Yeah, so I'm hoping that the state of Iowa decides to move forward with it because I think they realize the importance of having like two power like schools with Iowa in the big Iowa and the Iowa State, and obviously for Iowa State, having the central Iowa location, it being like what 30 some minutes from Des Moines.
Mm-hmm.
It's gonna be huge for the central Iowa economy because I mean Iowa's obviously gonna they're gonna have like their economy, but they're like really east, so it's like you want to continue bringing attractions, like you want to continue making the state of Iowa like having like have like revenue for the state of Iowa, and college athletics is one major way of doing so. So if you don't have like two power like schools, then you kind of set yourself up for like not as great of an economy like for the state. So it'd be a good thing for like the state as a whole. And this is like not even just trying to like corporate show like the base like whatever on like Twitter wherever where all I'm seeing is just like oh Iowa just bragging about like being in the Big Ten or whatever, and then like clowning like Iowa State for like where they're positioned at. Well, that's just some for like obviously like that's just how kind of nature goes, but long term, you want to have both Iowa and Iowa State as power schools. You want to have both.
Of course you do. I mean that this contributes to Iowa's economy. You have people coming in. You guys are making an extra amount of revenue from August to November. For
Hmm.
people coming into your state, coming to football games. I
Yeah.
contribute to Iowa's economy by coming to the state of Iowa 5 to 6 times a year, coming to
Hmm.
games,
Yeah.
and spending my hard-earned money on hotels, food places. Like a lot of
Yeah.
these, like just think about how a lot of these places are going to suffer. Like
Hmm.
if you don't get those numbers, I mean, like the qualities will take numbers if they go to Iowa games. I mean, people stay in I stay in Des Moines, like Ankeny,
Hmm.
Ames, Nevada, all those neighboring cities will take a hit if like we don't do something.
Hmm. Just yeah. Just and this is like okay. So now today, this is even like you want to talk about money and talk about like like expansion. We're seeing that like college basketball. We're seeing the same thing in college basketball now. Because like I'll show you. So this is from like the tweet from On3,
Sure.
who was like yeah. Now we're seeing like the same thing happen at On3. So this is comes from President Charlie Baker, saying that March Madness could expand as early as 2026, and their goal would be 72 and 76 teams in March Madness. Like
Which I don't know. Or do you really want to water down the product like that in the name
yeah,
of money? Like,
yeah. Look at this. Even Bill Self is out here. Like, so Bill Self, like, said he's a favorite, and you can clearly see a lot of oh boy. Yeah, just yeah. The chase for money and what's it gonna cost?
Big
Basketball.
12 basketball is acting like Sankey. Well, yeah, because we are the SEC of college basketball.
Yeah. And
But
granted, the SEC has had like pretty good like basketball like recently. But it does help when you have like great football numbers. You can bring in these high talents, but it's still like Big 12 is still what I say is like the standard when it comes to basketball. I mean,
it is, but
like
the SEC did win the national championship in basketball this year. So,
okay,
I mean,
yeah.
they have
Yeah.
that title right now. So
Yep. Unfortunately, but anyways, just a lot of expansion talk. So, um, okay, so I think that's a lot. I think, so I think that was just a lot of like expansion. Now, something a little more lighthearted, I'd say, is now we have officially seen the kickoff times for our
yes,
respective
thank you for
sports.
putting this. Yes.
So,
Yeah. So what are your thoughts on these kickoff times?
I'm pretty divided on this. I'm not going to lie. Um, I mean, you've got a 2:30 kickoff on Fox versus South Dakota State, and a 3 p.m. Central kickoff time at Arkansas State. These afternoon games are like it's like you kind of wish you had enough time to having like it in between like things like is you don't know if you have enough time to pregame tailgate or you could celebrate after because like you'll like because you're kind of in that in between where if you have an early kickoff, you could go tailgate, you can do whatever the rest of the day. You have the whole rest of the day or whatever. If you have a night game, you can pregame all day. But I mean these aren't too bad, I guess. Like I mean these are pretty decent slots, so it depends. But the one thing I am really looking forward to is Cyhawk being on big noon kickoff.
And it's been a decade. It's been a decade since we've had big or well since we've heard Gus and Joe Klatt on the call in a Cyhawk game. Last year we were on CBS, but man,
Hmm.
we're due. I was
Yeah,
wondering when Big New was gonna come back to Iowa State, and I figured it was gonna be for the Cyhawk
yeah.
game.
And speaking of yeah. So speaking of Cyhawk, Chris Andringa puts up a very nice fun fact. The last two morning Cyhawk games in Ames, Iowa went to overtime in 2011, 2017, and both ended with 44-41 scores.
And
And I
both,
like this.
yeah,
And hopefully this version, yes, I hope this ends like the 2011 version. Well, that's kind of
same.
crazy how like the last two times that has happened. But in addition to this, we also know that Kansas State will be kicking off at 11. So a, a lot of like early oh, it's said here. Yeah, I've seen the come here. Having Brad Nessler call an ISU win last year with gave me chills. Yes,
It was
I was
iconic.
so yeah, I was so happy when Cyhawk was on CBS, and just the presentation of it. I will always say CBS is the supreme network when it comes to presenting college sports,
It
basketball
is.
and football. The other networks, like there's just something special about watching a college football game and college basketball game on CBS. There's nothing like it. Like
I agree. Nothing like
production
it.
value, just like the production and everything, just the way like worked. And it's crazy to note that Iowa State had been on CBS twice in the same calendar year when we
Yeah.
hosted Kansas for basketball and then went to Cyhawk. So
I mean, bro, I told you that I grew up on watching games on CBS with my dad all the time, watching Florida
mhm,
games, watching all those high marquee games that Florida had in the 2000s with Tebow and all those teams.
right,
Like, it's iconic, man. Especially when Vern Lundquist is still on the call, but now you have Brad Nessler on the call. Obviously, the games aren't as exciting because it's Big Ten football, but like
yeah,
just being on the call with those, it was so iconic. But having Gus go crazy in that game with Joe Quiet, that's gonna be fun. That's gonna be so fun to watch. Can't wait to
hmm
be there for that one. I won't. I'm gonna have to see. I'm gonna have to see how I feel. I might be at the home opener and I might not. It's really gonna depend on like how I feel, and hopefully we're gonna be coming off of a win.
for
But
sure. Yeah. And then one unrelated thing, college football 26, the trailers come out and these are some of the drone shots. And then yeah,
ooh,
you're a Florida Gator. So you have
that's dope.
Florida, Texas, Nebraska, and even Cal has a drone show. So I don't know. Like, are you gonna plan on picking up college football 25? Because here are some more.
Well,
Here's some more.
yeah, because
Yes.
another thing that another feature, nice. So they really put more in game like features like,
Hmm.
and they actually put coaches on there. So if you go to the Iowa State football page, They actually
Yep,
will
I should
have
see that.
Matt Campbell is finally on there. So they have Matt Campbell, Mouse, and then they have
John Haycock.
yeah, John Haycock, Professor.
I love this comment here. It says virtual John Haycock better have the grease stains on his hoodie.
That would be hilarious with the sunglasses out and having him
Yes.
wearing sunglasses at night. And then what other I was gonna say, another good feature is that it's going to be cross-platform for Dynasty
Mm.
mode. So my boy told me that he has a PS5, I have an Xbox. I'm like, well, I thought I was gonna have to switch over to PS5, but I guess I don't have to now. So now I'm really excited for the cross-platform for Dynasty mode because that's gonna bring a whole lot of people together. Because I know at least for me, for guys my age in like their 30s, and when your friends live across the country, like it's a
Mhm.
good way to connect.
Yeah. Ugh. Oh, these big talent like on CBS. This slate here to start is not looking great because I'm looking at the first few games here. So August 30th, it'll be Nevada at Penn State. September 6th, Oklahoma State at Oregon. September 13th, Southern Cal at Purdue. And September 20th, it'll be Michigan at Nebraska. So
Ew.
that's and somebody said here, man, CBS should have just paid the SEC ransom. Woof.
Right, but they
Yeah,
wanted to be part of the Big Ten bought the media rights for CBS, so that's why
yeah,
the SEC plays on ESPN now.
yeah, yeah. Because so basically, it was more of like the Big Ten forked up the money to
Yep.
buy it. Because did the SEC make an offer?
I'm actually not sure. I had to read up more on that. I don't
Yeah,
want to say anything false, but I think the
yeah.
Big Ten just forked up the money.
All right. Well, that's uh, that's great. So I guess we're gonna have to live with more Big Ten on CBS. But I mean, hey, I'm seeing a lot more of like these schedule like kickoff times being released. Well, this one should interest you right here.
Let me see. Ooh, ooh. Wait, hold on. We got that Georgia at Tennessee, Florida at LSU. Ooh, okay. And that's on the 13th, right?
Yeah, September 13th.
Okay. Um, do we have? No, we play. Okay, so I'll be able to watch this after Iowa State. All right, so I'll be definitely be watching that game in Death Valley. Hopefully,
Ooh,
Florida should be 2-0 at this point. This will be their first conference game, so that
yeah.
I will be strapped in for that Saturday. Hopefully, we'll be coming off. We'll be 4-0 at this
Hmm.
time.
Yeah. So I mean, a lot of these like kickoff times. So I'm gonna just be down the rabbit hole. I figure like seeing all these different like kickoff times and seeing where like um each team is gonna be. And I think yep. So yeah, this is for Florida. So it looks like here, so their kickoff time. So they're gonna kick off at 7 o'clock Eastern against LIU. We on
Mm-hmm.
ESPN Plus and SEC Plus. 4:15 Eastern on the SEC like network against USF. I saw the 7:30 Eastern kickoff at LSU, and then the world's largest cocktail party will be a 3:30 Eastern kickoff against Georgia on November 1st.
Oh, like always, yeah. Okay.
Yep, makes sense. And I mean, there are some more Big 12 kickoff times, so let's see if I can find those. So
Yeah, post them up, and then we'll throw a lob to our
yeah,
sponsor, MyBookie.
yeah.
But
All right, so this is our week 3 designations. Looks like here, but we're gonna go back up obviously to week
oh,
0 before that. So obviously, the Aer Lingus Classic, Iowa State, Kansas State will kick off at noon
dude, I
Eastern,
can't wait.
and
Less
then
than 90
Fresno State will
days.
be traveling to Kansas to take on the Jayhawks that Saturday at 5:30 local time. Week 1, gotta co- yes, we get ourselves a nice little Pac-12 after dark with Arizona hosting
Ooh,
Hawaii,
we got some
but
Big
then
12 at the dark. We got Nebraska, Cincinnati.
Auburn at Baylor at 7 o'clock on Fox.
We got Houston playing Georgia Tech. That'll be a decent game. Oh, and then we have Auburn at Baylor,
Mhm.
6:30 on Fox.
Wait. Oh, wait. Did you mean? I already mentioned it. No, Georgia Tech would take it on Colorado.
No. I know. I said that. I was just saying Auburn is going to go on the road to McLean at Baylor.
Yeah. Yep. And then yeah, so week 2, obviously we got Cyhawk. Will be a big noon. Army at Kansas State at 6 p.m.
Ooh, I mean, depending on how that game, that could be a trap game for K State because especially with the high the time of possession that Army likes to use. That I
That triple
mean,
option.
yeah, that triple option offense, man. Hey,
Mm,
depending on it really is going to depend on the psyche of what K State is after they play us. Depending
yep.
if they win that game or if they lose that game, so we'll see.
Yep. And we got week 3. Let's see here. Yeah, we got the backyard brawl, 2:30,
Ooh.
Morgantown. Got the second game of the home and home with the battle of the Wildcats between Kansas State and Arizona.
Big 12 after dark.
Yep. Got Colorado traveling to Houston. That one I would that one could be a bit of a sleeper on Friday night, just depending on how Houston plays in their first couple of games.
I agree.
Then you got Texas Tech taking on the Beavers, hosting them in Lubbock.
Yeah, and then we also have a TNT game. We
Oh
have
yeah,
Texas State playing Arizona State,
Arizona.
which was a good
Yeah.
game on Thursday night this past year.
hmm And then here are some additional. So it looks like we got some early kickoffs for a few of these games. So, oh yes. Oh god. And I would not imagine wanting to be a West Virginia fan and watching that game from Morgantown. Dear
Oh, that's good.
God.
That game's not going to
Buckle
be
up,
until like 2 a.m.
yeah, buckle up, West Virginia. You're about to experience Lavelle Edwards at night.
Oh boy. Ooh, and then we have on the 26th. We have TCU going to Arizona State. That could possibly be a good one. And going into week 5, that one would be a good
Mhm.
one. We have the battle for the space city.
Yes, who's the real Space U is basically what
Space
this
City
game is.
Space U showdown.
Yep.
Houston versus UCF.
hmm
Oh, and
And
then
then Black.
Black Friday, of course, we have Arizona State. Oh,
And
BYU
also,
Colorado.
hmm I Bleav this is this is when we would play Arizona. So this would probably be after we play Arizona, based on what my understanding is. So
Yeah,
might
looks
have
like that'll
time to,
probably be in that game.
depending on what time it is. I could low key just go to the RV lots after the game, maybe hanging out with some people, and watch the what's that. So
I might
yeah,
come join you that day.
yeah. Or if you have a tailgate, let me know. So
Oh, we
yeah,
we'll be there. Yeah.
sweet. So a lot of things to look forward to. I mean, we're counting down the days to college football. Obviously, Iowa State, we're gonna get the head start with Kansas State being the first game of week 0. So it's about 86 days. So I hope everybody has gotten their hope everybody's got like their tailgating items. So like I don't know if you want to get a grill or whatever, get the truck at the parking spot, and then just figure out how you want to tailgate or whatever. So I just know that the tailgates this year are going to be really interesting. So
They're gonna be fun. I think it's gonna be a lot less rowdy for Cyhawks since the game starts so early. So
yeah, but I'm gonna guess that everybody it's because we're probably all gonna be pre-gaming. Like let's be real here, all the college students we're gonna be pre-gaming for days at the bars. Me
I'm not.
included.
Yeah. Oh
So
yeah. Dude, Cyhawk Week, man. I remember that when I was
oh dude, the
back.
hatred, dude. The hatred
The
that's gonna go
hatred.
down.
Oh man.
I don't know if it's gonna be like full like 2014 V show. We'll have to find out though.
Dog, that yeah, I'm not gonna cap like that. That was fun. The year I was there, it was insane when I was
Yep.
there. But before we go, we have to go and talk about our sponsor, MyBookie.
All right, yeah. Well, the NBA Finals are shaping up here. The Oklahoma City Thunder have advanced to the NBA Finals after taking down the Minnesota Timberwolves in Game 5, 124-94 to win the series 4-1. Obviously, Game 5 at the Eastern Conference Finals between the Indiana Pacers and the New York Knicks will be going down tonight at 7 p.m. There are also some like baseball odds. I mean, baseball is basically going to take like um, focus and relative to the sports world, but there might be some more like racing here and there. I think NASCAR is a decent one. NASCAR is picking up. I know F1 as well. And if you're into soccer, the Champions League final will be happening on Saturday between Inter Milan and Paris Saint-Germain.
There we go. Yeah, and look at these odds. The money line, they're both plus
Yeah.
and the pluses. So
Yeah. I
flash
mean,
forward
if
that.
you know soccer as well, like if you know soccer a lot, I mean, hey, but NBA is going to be your main focus here with the
Yep.
Pacers and Knicks. New York is the favorite by 4. They're in one minus 175 favorite. Indiana is a 4-point underdog with plus 145 odds. The over under is 223.
And if you think you know ball, look at the outrights right now. Oklahoma City is overwhelming from it at minus 1166. Indiana plus 610. And if you really think that New York's going to come back from a 3-1 deficit, they are plus 2,800 right now. So there are some good odds right now. And then just in general, um, in order to sign up, make sure you uh, mention the Bleav in Iowa State podcast. Make sure you put in the promo code MM50. And here are some things. Here are some promotions currently right now. There's a 50% sports welcome bonus, so that'll be incorporated into your account. And there's a 150% casino bonus up to $750 on the casino games below. So you can also play slot games, like casino, and table games. So you can do a lot on MyBookie. Thank you for being a sponsor. So thank you guys for being with us and all you college football sickos. Thank you for listening to the Bleav in Iowa State podcast. So we have some few things before we leave. Um, so we are a top 15 sports podcast in the state of Iowa, nominated by FeedSpot. So thank you, FeedSpot, for nominating us as a top 15 show. Thank you, state of Iowa listeners. Thank you, all of our supporters. We love you guys. You can find Cody on Twitter at Matt Campbell Impersonator. Cody, I'm sorry about your Braves, man.
Yeah, we're down 4-2 right now to the Phillies. So, right. But hey, Ronald Acuna's back, so hopefully we can find a way to maybe sneak into the wild card. Division's kind of out of question right now, but
Mm-hmm.
maybe we can sneak into the wild card. We'll have to see.
Yeah, I can be found that side tie guy. Um, the White Sox are what 1938 compared to what they were last year. I mean, this team is fun bad. They're a fun bad, so they're fun to
Yeah.
watch, even though they're bad. But and really, if you really look at this Mets series, past Mets series, like they won 9-3 last night. But I mean, if you really look, we probably could have either swept or at least taken 2 out of 3 if our bullpen didn't give up runs.
Mm.
So we'll see if I think they might have found something offensively. Let's see if they can keep it going. Hopefully, they'll be able to still keep me interested throughout the summer until the game starts.
I
So
mean, hey,
with that being said, what you say?
they're playing the Orioles, and you got both teams are in pretty similar positions. So
Which
yeah,
is crazy when you consider the Orioles won 91 games last year. That's insane.
yeah, I don't know what's going on with them, but yeah.
Yeah. So there we go. There's your baseball talk. But thank you guys for tuning into the Bleav in Iowa State podcast. You can always find us here on our live stream or join us also at our 5 forms of social media. I forgot about that. Make sure to follow us on all our forums: Twitter, YouTube, Facebook, TikTok, and Instagram. So for Tyler Carter,
And for Cody Van Cielum,
this is the Bleav in Iowa State podcast. Roll clones, baby.
let's go State.